Hello, everyone. My name is Chad Carwein, and I'm the Sustainability Manager for ECU. Today, I'm creating this recording of a presentation about sustainability on campus and ways for students to get involved. I like to start each of my presentations with a little bit of word association. So just take a moment to think about what comes to mind when you hear the word sustainability. You might be thinking about long-term maintenance, endurance, preservation. Some people may be thinking about recycling. We call that the gateway drug to sustainability. If we can get you thinking about reducing waste, maybe we can have you think about how you get to and from places, sustainable transportation, or how your diet impacts the earth. At least some people are wondering, what the heck is this tree-hugging hippie with a beard and long hair talking to me right now? That's not a picture of me, just a Google stock image. But sustainability does have to do with the environment. It also has to do with the economy, as well as society. And so we can think of it like a Venn diagram. At the intersection of economic prosperity, social equity, and environmental stewardship is this moving target called sustainability that we're chasing after. Other ways to think about it, businesses for many years now have been referring to the triple bottom line or the triple P approach to conducting business. Just swapping out the words people, prosperity, and planet for society, economy, and environment. However, these ways of thinking about sustainability give equal value to these three factors. Whereas this diagram represents, I think, a different emphasis. Sustainability has become quite complex in terms of how we define it, especially over the last 10 to 15 years. However, if you look at this one, the smallest circle in the middle is labeled economy, and it's enclosed by a larger circle labeled society. The reason for that is that the economy is completely dependent on people. At least for now, robots haven't taken over the planet yet. So we still need people to provide labor in manufacturing and service industries, people to innovate and come up with ideas for new technologies. And the economy is really just a construct of society. Both of those circles are enclosed in an even larger one labeled the environment. And the reason for that, at the very most basic level, humans get three things from the environment that we can't live without: air to breathe, water to drink, and food. And to take that analogy a step further, I would say that we need clean air, clean water, and healthy soil to grow food in. And beyond just those basic three elements that people need, everything that you can think of, the technology in electronics, the precious metals that go into that. If you're sitting at a desk, the wood for that table. If you drive, ride a bike, take the bus to and from campus, the rubber that those tires are made out of. All of these things come from the environment. So the economy is directly dependent on the environment as well. Why does this matter for ECU though? Well, for one, we're part of the UNC system. There's 17 institutions across the state of North Carolina from the mountains to the coast. And in 2009, the sustainability policy was adopted. This laid out goals and objectives for each of the 17 institutions to work towards to make their campuses more sustainable. For places like UNC Chapel Hill, NC State, and Appalachia State, they already had sustainability programs and people like myself working there. However, for ECU, this gave us the precedent to create a sustainability committee. And they worked on a number of initiatives over the first 6 years or so before they realized that they really needed to create a position and hire a sustainability manager. And they did just that in 2016. That's when I joined the team here at ECU. Very soon after, I realized that we needed a sustainability plan. Rather than just trying things and seeing what works, let's put together a team. And we did. Over 60 students, staff, faculty, and a handful of community members worked together over the course of about a year to develop goals and strategies to achieve those goals across 4 focus areas: climate change mitigation, campus grounds, materials management, and academics and research. The timing of that plan couldn't have been better. We had just updated the strategic plan for the university in 2016, and in that document, the university lays out 3 commitments. The first is student success. The second builds off the motto of the university, which is Servir to serve. So the second commitment is public service. The third and final commitment is regional transformation. And that's an area that I take a lot of pride in, because I think that sustainability has an opportunity for the university, which is an anchor in the region, to really take the lead on and lead by example. Things that we do on our campus can be sort of experimental, and then we can scale them up to the city, to the county, and to the region. We've already received several awards and designations just in the first 5 years of having a sustainability program. We're a Tree Campus USA, a Bee Campus USA, Bicycle Friendly University, and we've also participated in the ASHE STARS program. It stands for Sustainability Tracking Assessment and Rating System. And we first received a bronze rating in that system back in 2017, and more recently upgraded our status to a silver rating in 2020. By participating in these programs and receiving these designations, we've also been included in the Princeton Review's Guide to Green Schools, as well as the Princeton Review's Guide to the 385 Best Colleges and Universities. There are over 4,200 colleges and universities just in the United States. So being featured in publications like this is a powerful recruiting tool for prospective students. Now, I want to also include this to see if I can get a little shock value out of my presentation. Take just a second, think about what you think the university spends on electricity in a given year. Now, before I reveal the number, you've got to keep in mind that we have over 28,000 students, 6,000 staff and faculty, and nearly 6,000 students that live on campus. So in a way, we're like a small town within a big town. All right, here we go. Nearly $11 million a year spent on electricity. Now, that may seem like a lot, but like I just said, we consume a lot of resources on campus. Natural gas is a significantly cheaper resource. We use it to heat our buildings and our water supply. Still, almost $3 million a year on natural gas. And finally, water. Again, with almost 6,000 people living on campus, there's a lot of water consumption going on. Taking showers, flushing toilets, using sinks, dishwashers, washing machines, you name it. Water is relatively cheap here compared to other parts of the United States, and especially around the world. Still, almost $2 million a year on water consumption. In terms of goals, the UNC system originally had a 40% energy reduction goal, and then it was adopted by the state. So this is now a state mandate to reduce energy consumption 40% by 2025. The UNC sustainability policy also has a goal of climate neutrality by 2050. And in terms of progress, here's a look at our recycling rate. Now, the number above landfill diversion rate is a little bit misleading because it includes things beyond just our dual stream recycling program, and that number is only about 30%. That's not really a number that we should be proud of. We estimate that we could recycle up to 70 to 80% of materials on campus, but we need to do a better job providing more infrastructure, and even then, we still need everyone to participate. Water consumption, we've actually made pretty good strides in, 44% reduction since 2003. And energy consumption, here's where we are towards that 40% reduction goal. We've dropped at 30% since 2003. Each year, I compile greenhouse gas emissions inventory, and I'm not going to go into depth on this, but we are headed in the right direction. Our baseline year, according to the state mandate, is 2005. And since that time, we've reduced greenhouse gas emissions nearly 30% here in the most recent fiscal year, 2021. Now, you can see on the far right, COVID has played into that. We, for nearly 2 years, didn't have as much commuting of faculty, staff, and students, practically no air travel outside of the country. We also produced less waste and used less electricity in our buildings. So really, we would want to look at the year 2019 to get a more accurate comparison to the 2005 baseline. Here you can see just a couple of other ways of presenting the information. In green, under scope 2 on the far left, that is our purchased electricity, just under 50% of our total greenhouse gas emissions footprint. In terms of academics, we have dozens and dozens of courses related to sustainability. And as many different subject areas offer courses in sustainability, there are also faculty doing research, contributing to the body of knowledge around sustainability. A couple of exciting new things. We do have now an environmental studies program. It's a multidisciplinary degree program, and I think it would pair very nicely with other majors such as business, geography, planning, and all sorts of different degree pursuits. But it's also a standalone degree that you can earn here now at ECU. In addition, we also offer a semester experience at the coast. The building pictured there in the Outer Banks is the UNC Coastal Studies Institute, which is managed by ECU. It's located on Roanoke Island, and this is a great opportunity for any student coming from any degree program. I also do a lot of work with students in their classes. Some capstone projects include energy audits and waste audits. Service learning, there's opportunities that I'll discuss later, working at the Greenville Community Garden. I've also had students help departments in their own major get certified in the Green Office program as well. Examples of class assignments include mapping different sustainability features on campus, doing cost-benefit analysis on various sustainability technologies, and then doing larger research projects around alternative transportation and other topic areas. Now I'll pause here just briefly. I'm a facilities employee, so the majority of my work centers around operations, working with folks behind the scenes, keeping the lights on, the water running, the grass cut, trying to reduce the environmental impacts of our campus operations. However, I also get the opportunity to do things like I'm doing right now, guest lectures and other forms of outreach, as well as working with faculty to try and integrate sustainability into the curriculum. I love talking about my job with students who may be interested in this field, and it's very exciting. There's, never a dull moment, always a challenge or opportunity to do something new and make a difference. I'm just going to touch on some of these things on each slide under these different areas of interest. In terms of energy, about 8 years ago, we replaced over 30,000 light fixtures on campus with LED upgrades. All of our new buses will run on compressed natural gas, which results in about 25% less greenhouse gas emissions. In terms of water reductions, basically just upgrading older, more inefficient fixtures, plumbing fixtures with newer high-efficiency fixtures. Here's a really important slide. If you don't take anything else from today, the easiest thing we can all do is know what we can and can't recycle. And this applies both on campus and off campus. You can see in the middle the items that we are able to accept in our bins on campus, as well as your curbside bins at home, whether it's an apartment or a rental house. In terms of metal, it's the same things we have pretty much always done. Soda cans, light metal tins for vegetables and fruit, office paper, newspaper, and cardboard. And then plastic is where it gets a little bit confusing, but we can do basically drinking containers, detergent bottles, milk jugs, things like that. No pumps, and it's got to be emptied out. Now, here are some of the most recent changes on the left side. We no longer accept glass, unfortunately, and that applies on and off campus. There are areas around the county, drop-off sites, where you can collect glass on your own and take it there. And if you just go to Pitt County government website and look for the solid waste department, you can find information on where those drop-off sites are. No more disposable cups, so that's Solo cups, Starbucks cups, to-go drink containers. And in terms of paper, no more catalogs, junk mail, magazines, that glossy paper, or food boxes. So there's stuff called paperboard that is different from cardboard. So that'd be like cereal boxes, mac and cheese boxes, frozen pizza boxes, things like that we no longer accept. And when it comes to plastic, no food containers like yogurt or sour cream. And then metals, no more aerosol cans, hairspray, deodorant, spray paint, things like that. We have started a compost pilot project. I have 2 interns that are working on that. They started last semester and have continued into the spring 2022. In 1 month alone, they diverted over 7,000 pounds of pre-consumer food waste from the landfill, and it'll be turned into a final product that we can then use again on campus. I work a lot with grounds, and they do some excellent projects to try and conserve the amount of irrigation that we need on campus, to try and mitigate stormwater in our city, which is a big problem, and to use alternative fuels like propane mowers and electric gators. I mentioned earlier B Campus USA, and I'm proud to announce that we do host 6 hives on campus. There's 3 at Lake Laupas on Health Sciences campus, and then 3 more over at the Belk Complex off of Charles Boulevard and across from the baseball stadium. This is a really important issue, and we're trying to protect pollinators, especially honeybees, and establish habitats for them, mainly because of a phenomena called colony collapse disorder. And this has been taking place over the past 5 to 10 years, and we estimate that we've lost nearly 50% of honeybee populations worldwide. There's a number of factors that contribute to this decline in their populations. The first being habitat loss due to human land development. The second is the growth of industrial agriculture over the last 60 plus years has led to indiscriminate spraying of chemicals that are toxic to bees, like pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, and then finally climate change. Here in recent years, we've had very mild winters around here. And when we have shorter and less cold winters, the other types of insects and predators that can affect honeybee populations, they don't die off, right? If we don't have prolonged sub-freezing temperatures, then they can survive through winter. They can expand their range. They can expand their own population numbers, and it puts more pressure on bees. This is really important because if it weren't for honeybees, 1 out of every 3 bites of food would not be possible. And as our human population grows worldwide, continues to grow, our global food system is very important, and it's completely reliant on pollinators like honeybees, types of beetles, butterflies, and even bats. We do have a campus orchard. This was started by an honors student group, the Edible Landscape Initiative. They have blueberry bushes, pear trees, and pollinator garden and an herb garden, and it's located in Stratford Arms, which is a parking lots area with a bunch of green space that's used for tailgating for baseball and football, and it's off of Charles near the Belk Complex as well. In terms of food and dining, we do have a freight farm on campus, and it's located near Jones Residence Hall. This is a closed loop hydroponic agriculture system that we grow leafy greens in and herbs and all of that stuff is used in the dining halls. The water is just continually recycled through the system, and it uses LED lights. Everything from the lighting to the temperature to the humidity, the water cycle, everything can be controlled on an app. And this freight farm is just a used shipping container that's been repurposed, and it can grow the equivalent of 2 acres of land, and we have the potential to harvest 500 heads of lettuce about every 3 weeks from this thing. So it's pretty incredible, and they do give tours. And I believe right now Aramark is even looking for a student to help run this operation. It's a paid position. We also recycle all of our used cooking oil, and we haven't had trays in the dining hall since 2007. There are multiple benefits to taking trays out of large cafeterias, like reducing food waste, not having to use as much water to wash the trays, also saving on energy consumption because we use hot water to wash them, and also not having to purchase or discharge chemicals into the sanitary sewer system. In terms of transportation, we have a bicycle and pedestrian plan, but it's definitely in need of being updated. And we're up to 9 electric vehicle charging stations on campus. They're all charge point level 2 dual chargers, so 2 vehicles can charge at one time. And we're always looking for grants and other financial opportunities to invest in more electric vehicle charging. I've talked about ECU Transit, but one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the routes and schedules are on NextBus, which is an app that you can download, and it makes it easier so you can plan out your day around the bus schedule. You don't have to sit out in the cold or the rain or the heat later in the year waiting on the bus. You can kind of time it based on real time where the buses are located. Green buildings, our most recent LEED Gold building that we added to our portfolio was the Student Center on Health Sciences campus. And LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. My favorite part of my job is doing outreach, working with students and faculty to raise awareness about climate change and other environmental issues, getting volunteer opportunities and other ways that students can get involved with campus sustainability. One thing is the monthly film and discussion series that I host. The first one this semester will be on February 8th at 6 p.m. in the Student Center Black Box Theater. In recognition and celebration of Black History Month, we'll be showing a film called Cooked, which is about a terrible week in Chicago in the 1990s where a heat wave tore through the city and over 750 residents died due to heat exhaustion and heat-related illnesses. A lot of this could have been prevented. Unfortunately, the residents were low income and predominantly African American. And so it's a terrible moment in history, but it shows what the future could look like in terms of global climate change and heat-related illnesses. We'll have a panel of speakers there to discuss the issues presented in the film and take questions from the audience. In March, we're going to be celebrating International Women's Month and showing Plastic China on March 15th at 6 p.m. in the Student Center Black Box Theater. And for Earth Month, during Earth Week on April 19th at 6 p.m. on the lawn outside of the Student Center on the big jumbo Pirate Vision, we're going to be showing a little bit more of an uplifting film called How to Let Go of the World and Love All the Things That Climate Can't Change. Also keep on the lookout because we will be having a whole series of events taking place during Earth Week, April 18th through the 24th. So follow at SustainECU to keep up with all of the things that we'll have planned during Earth Week. Other ways to get involved on campus, we have several student groups that are related to sustainability and work on all sorts of fun projects and initiatives, both on campus and off campus. Eco Pirates is one of the original and oldest groups related to sustainability on campus. And they do river and greenway cleanups in partnership with Relief, who also does tree plantings on campus as well. I'm not going to read them all off, but you can see here all the different sustainability groups, and feel free to look them up. They all have social media accounts, profiles on Engage, and do all sorts of great work. I also get to work with several community groups that are focused on the environment. We have Love a Sea Turtle, Tar River Beekeepers, FROG stands for Friends of Greenville Greenways. And if you haven't been out there yet, we have a wonderful resource in our community. The Greenway runs parallel to the Tar River down in the grid area. And we're trying to, do more and more extensions to create sort of like a Greenway loop around the city. None of it would have been possible without the help of frogs many years ago advocating for the establishment of a Greenway. Keep Greenville Beautiful. There's a Relief community chapter, and then the local chapter of the Sierra Club is the Cypress Group. I mentioned volunteer service opportunities. One of them is working at the Greenville Community Garden that I manage in partnership with Love a Sea Turtle. It's located at 209 Stansel Drive by the Tar River Greenway. And we typically have work days from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Saturdays, as you can see below. However, the first one of the semester is on MLK Day of Service, and that's from 10:30 to 12:30. Come out and join us because we always have a good time. We get, good groups of people out there. You can meet some fun classmates, peers, both on campus and in the community. Other volunteer service opportunities include Town Creek Culvert litter cleanups. If you meet at the ECU Willis building located at 1st Street and Reed Circle, litter cleanups start at 2 p.m. on the first Wednesday of February and March, and then we're going to have one during Earth Week on April 20th. Another opportunity is the Otter Creek Natural Area Trail Maintenance Work Days. This site is owned by ECU, and it is about 20 minutes away. So we meet at the Student Center bus loop at 2 p.m. On Thursdays, and we drive out there and we just do some trail maintenance. It's been underutilized for many years, so we've been working on it for about the past year, and we're going to continue to work on it in February and March, and we hope to have a grand opening during Earth Week this spring. So keep an eye out for opportunities to head out there. It's a beautiful piece of land with a lot of neat natural features out there. All right, finally, I'm just going to leave you with a few tips to go green. A lot of people don't think about their diet in terms of the impact it has on the environment. But by just eating less meat, trying Meatless Monday, or say meatless lunches or dinners a few days a week, you can drastically reduce your own carbon footprint. Unplugging chargers and appliances when not in use. Again, something that people don't think about, but it's called phantom power or Empire Energy. Think about your TV. It has a little red standby indicator light. Your microwave or coffee maker probably have clocks that haven't been set in a long time that are flashing at you. All of these devices that are plugged in, they're using standby power. And just at your house, that can add up to 10 to 15% of household energy consumption. So by going green and unplugging these devices or using a smart power adapter, you can save some green in your wallet too. Speaking of saving money, by just turning down the thermostat to 68 in the winter and 74 in the summer, you can save a significant amount on your power bill as well. Only running washing machines and dishwashers with full loads. Not buying bottled water, bringing your own reusable bottle to campus and refilling it in some of our bottle refill stations. Again, a lot of the things you do to sort of go green and help the planet will also help your budget too. Bus, bike, walk, or carpool as much as possible. And rethink. A lot of people think about reduce, reuse, recycle, but rethinking purchasing practices and habits can significantly reduce your impact, can reduce the amount of waste you generate when you think about packaging or getting things shipped together rather than individual purchases. And finally, just like you're doing right now as you listen to this guest lecture, educate yourself and spread the word about environmental issues to friends and family. A great way to do that is to attend a film screening. And then finally, I mentioned it before, but at Sustain ECU on all the different social media platforms, it's a great way to connect with us. If you go to sustain.ecu.edu, you'll find probably more information than you'll ever want to know about sustainability, especially on campus. And then also we have a newsletter that you can subscribe to, and we send it out monthly, and it keeps you informed on all things campus sustainability related as well. Thank you all very much, and I hope that I get to see you sometime out at an event on campus or a volunteer opportunity. So take care of yourselves, Pirates.